for me to just sort of like relax and go visit friends that I have there, and have my little baguettes and recharge and reset. But I think long term it just like does not make sense to be there. It is not helping me career wise. Sure, I'm getting travel content, but like even being in New York, just stepping outside, there's just so much going on. I I know it's been, a couple weeks. Okay, I'm in New York currently, and yeah, slowly getting my life together. I left France maybe about 3 weeks ago. Not leaving forever, but I ended up swapping apartments with someone. So there's a girl in my apartment in France, and I'm in her studio here in Brooklyn. So I'm really excited to sort of explore New York a bit. I've only been here for maybe like 2 weeks at a time. And there's a lot happening in September. It's Climate Week, the UN has stuff going on. It's Fashion Week, although I didn't get invited to anything Fashion Week related. Next year, we'll put it on the vision board. So, yeah, today I'm gonna go do some work with my friend Deandra that has been in my videos before. She visited me in France. And yeah, I just really keep going back and forth on like the type of content I want to make, and making sure that content gets me to my end goal. Because as I'm like sort of looking at certain people for inspiration, I'm realizing like, okay, I think I need to think bigger. Like, I don't want to just be an influencer. Like, how do we go beyond that and being strategic in the things that I'm doing? So, I was like, I feel like I need a podcast, and a podcast in New York where there's so many people that I could have on the podcast. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that in the south of France. So I think a podcast could be interesting, but obviously that's a full-time job in and of itself. And then I would love to have my YouTube channel be sort of like behind the scenes of me building all the things that I'm doing. And also, of course, like seeing my travels as well, because I'm always going to be a travel girl. I may not be traveling all the time, but I definitely will always have travel a part of my life. So just sort of figuring out what that looks like. I was watching a video of Emma. I think her last name is Grande. The woman behind Skims and Good American. And first of all, she's gorgeous and very intelligent. And as she was speaking, and she was talking about her childhood, and she was talking about just sort of this like energy she's always had, this spirit of excellence she's always had. And I was like, this sounds like me. And she's 40, early 40s right now. And I'm like, okay, like I don't want to be her per se, because honestly I don't think my goal is to own $1 billion business. But I'm like, if there's like a middle ground between Meghan Markle and Oprah slash her, where I am very like media facing, but still sort of keep that softness that Meghan Markle has. Again, just trying to think long term, because as I, will hopefully one day get married and have kids, I want to be able to focus on that more if I want to. So I think life is all about, or like building wealth and all these things are about having options. So for me, yeah, just trying to figure out what this next chapter looks like. So right now I'm in this apartment till end of October. I'm trying to find someone to swap with me in November, and then I would love to spend Christmas in Nice or Europe in general. So go back and then maybe find someone to swap with me January, February, and then my lease is up mid-March. So I probably want to be there in March to make sure I also get my deposit back, because these French landlords are just still, nothing has gotten done. Like they literally, I think I mentioned to you guys, like they literally like remove some of the what's it called, caulking, I think it's called, from the bathtub or the bath or from the shower, and they removed it, and like he put some more down but then didn't finish it, so there's this huge gap that has not been done. And I've been texting nonstop, no one's getting back to me. They're just like The laziness, I can't do it anymore. I think France is great to go for maybe 3 months out of the year for me to just sort of like relax and go visit friends that I have there, and have my little baguettes and recharge and reset. But I think long term it just like does not make sense to be there. It is not helping me career wise. Sure, I'm getting travel content, but like even being in New York, just stepping outside, there's just so much going on. And the other day I was staying at a hotel for a night before I moved in here. And this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, I really like your hair." He's like, "I swear I'm not trying to be weird. I like own a hair care company. It's like in Target and Walmart." And so then he like connected me to his like influencer manager. And it's like that would have never happened with me walking around Nice, right? So it's not that you can't make money abroad. It's just that the chances of making more money, in my opinion, for what I do is in the US, and it's LA, New York. And two, like when you're making more money in the US, and especially if you have a more flexible job, I can just hop over to Paris for a couple weeks if I want and not worry about the money. So I think I might end up going back to that. Trying to figure out this New York rent is definitely going to be interesting. This apartment is 4 grand a month. It's base for a studio. Obviously, it's a really nice building, but yeah, I thought LA was expensive, but like LA, I was spending 3 grand a month, but I had basically like a little back house. It was a 2 bedroom. I mean, the second bedroom was basically like an office size. You couldn't really fit a bed in there, but it was basically like a mini house. I had a backyard, no parking, washer and dryer for 3 grand a month. So it's just going to be, I'm okay with like living in a studio in New York as long as it's nice. And I would love to have amenities like a washer and dryer because I am not trying to be out here in the winter lugging my laundry downstairs or, taking it to a laundromat. Not trying to do that. So putting it out there, manifesting it, my New York apartment, gonna figure out how to make it work. You just gotta put it out there and figure out what it is that you want. But I'm excited to be in New York, and I'm excited for all the opportunities that are going to be here. But France, yeah, I had such an amazing time in France. I spent 8 months there, and I guess in total, I probably will spend maybe close to 11 months. And I'm proud of myself for going after something that just seemed really interesting and fun, and just going after it and not being scared. So it's all a learning process. And part of me felt like, oh, I failed because I'm coming back to the US. But it's like, no, it's all about learning. Like, I don't believe in failure. I believe you're only just learning lessons. And I learned that I love being in France, but France is just, you go for a few months or something. It's not where I want to be based because I think now that I'm young, I have this face, okay, I need to capitalize off of it as much as possible. And the best place to do that is in the US. The best place to make money is in the US. Like, people are like, oh, are there opportunities in Paris? Sure, you could be an influencer in Paris, but like the money is not going to compare. I guarantee you, like the girls that are living in these 5, 6, 7, $8,000 apartments in New York, like that's because they're making New York, LA money, okay? You couldn't do that as an influencer in Paris. Maybe if you had 1 million followers, but there's no way you could have, 100,000 followers in Paris and be making multiple six figures. So, just from maybe brand deals alone. But yeah, because the budgets just are different in Europe, and even in France, like getting wealthy is very difficult. Like they tax so highly, whereas in the U.S. there's so many loopholes that like you're actually incentivized to be a business owner because you actually can keep a lot of your money if you know how to do all the tax stuff correctly. And then personally, I felt like it wasn't getting me to my goals of finding a husband because if we're, being 100%, like even doctors don't really make money in France. Okay. So if I want someone that can afford a lifestyle where they're traveling and, living a life that I'm living and continuing to, make that life even better, the chances of finding that in France are very little, especially in the South. The men that are maybe established in the South, they have third homes there. They don't live there, or they have a family already. Like, you're not going to find a single man, making a good amount of money in the south of France. Like, and also, I heard someone say the other day that, like, sort of ambitious men don't live by water, which I found to be interesting. Which, I mean, of course, there's some ambitious men in LA, but they were basically saying is like ambitious men are like in New York or London, like they're in places where they have to work, and they're not just dilly dallying around and relaxing. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So hopefully, being in New York also opens up doors too. I mean, half the men here went to Harvard. Like, all the men are good on paper and have the resume. So obviously, it comes down to like finding someone that is sane as well and treats you right. But at least I'm putting myself in a pool where the chances of finding someone who fits the certain requirements I'm looking for is higher. But yeah, I mean, if you ever want to move to France, do it. And I would just say be very clear on what it is that you're looking for. Like, I think when I moved to France, I was looking for a slow life and just to like figure out what it is that I wanted next in my life. But now that I got clear on my main two goals, which is to grow my career as big as I can and to find the person that I want to spend my life with, now it is like, okay, now we have to change where we are because we need that to be in alignment with the goals. And being in the south of France just is not in alignment with those goals. And that's okay. And I think that's a part of life and a part of the journey of you figuring it out. So far, New York hasn't stressed me too much, but I've only been here for a little bit and I'm still sort of recharged from France. I've had 3 men literally body run into me, not run, but walk into me and like not move out the way. New York is not for the weak, but I guess, coming from Chicago, has helped with my resilience. But yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead to the coffee shop and sort of think through what makes sense in my life. Because I'm also, trying to grow my page, also trying to track these brand deals. And yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how I can also help people. I really would love to get more into consulting, helping other creators. Because yeah, filming content is a lot of work, especially like doing YouTube videos. Like, I've told myself, like, we're not doing the cinematic stuff unless it's like specifically for a certain project because it just takes up too much time. And I'm all about, okay, how can I make this process as easeful as possible? Because then it's easier for me to show up. Because if I'm talking to you guys like this and I'm just sort of, walking with you and talking to you, that I can do. But if I'm doing all these fancy cinematic things, like, I'm just gonna be overwhelmed and exhausted. And that's also going to show up on camera. I'm even like exhausted now and have a headache, but we're powering through and we're trying to get this content out. We got to keep going. The only thing that's going to lead to failure is if you stop, if you give up. That doesn't mean you can't take breaks, but if you give up, you're guaranteed to fail. So I'm never going to stop. I'm always going to keep going. I feel like I'm definitely starting from scratch. Like, I feel like last year was the height of my career. I was in the Drew Barrymore show. I was getting flown around the world. Business class with Marriott, and was doing all these amazing things. And now I feel like I'm starting from complete scratch. So really trying to learn, and I really am big on abundance mindset and the power of your words and all those things. So I'm really trying to practice what I preach, and even though things aren't going the way I would hope to right now, I think it's just again, keeping that mindset even when things aren't going the way you thought they would, because it's easy to have a good mindset when things are going well, but it's hard to do it when things aren't going the way you had planned. So yeah, figuring it all out, everything's working out as the way it's supposed to. I'm grateful that I am in a luxury apartment building here in New York, while paying my France rent, which is great. And the girl seems really sweet. And yeah, I think this is just also being an entrepreneur. Like, if you're someone that always needs to know what's going to happen next, like, being an entrepreneur may not be for you, but this is part of the journey, is trusting that, it's all going to work out. You may not know what next month's going to look like, but you just have to trust the process and know that it's all going to work out. So now let's go head to this coffee shop and go meet up with my friend.